Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here is Sunday morning, and we've got a double preview to do today. Raptors and Raptors 905 playing today at 6 p.m. Eastern. Double duty. If you have the split screen, if you have the computer and the TV, you can watch both games at the same time, but they're going to be playing at the same time. Raptors 905 tip off 6 p.m. Raptors tip off 6 p.m. Eastern. So be ready. Take note. I am going to the game at Scotiabank Arena today to see the Raptors play the Philadelphia 76ers, and I'm going to bring the noise, y'all. All right, let's get right into it. Latest lineup news, and we'll start with the G League team just really quick, just to get it done, and then we'll get to the big enchilada. The referees for the 905 at Birmingham Squadron. Birmingham Squadron is the G League team for the New Orleans Pelicans, and they will play a 2-game set with them today, and I believe Tuesday is the next game. So they'll stay in Birmingham for 2 games. The referee for today, crew chief, Josh Reed, number 28. Billy McClatchy is the referee, number 31. And Eric Lewis, number 88, is the umpire. This is interesting. You guys know, this kind of slipped through the news in recent months that nobody really took note of it. But Eric Lewis, disgraced referee who got in trouble for weird stuff like texting or social media. And, well, they're reinstating him on the down low through the G League right now. So Eric Lewis, disgraced NBA ref who was a vet and was out of the league for a year or two, is making his way back in the league, and he will be reffing the 905 game today as the third ref. He's a shady ref, man. I can't believe they're doing this, honestly, letting him come back in. But yeah, I was thinking that we might see him for a G League game soon, since he's doing that level. He is not NBA level, and he may never ever get to that level, but we'll see. It's likely he might because of the way they work. The Birmingham Squadron, who are they? Well, let's just run over their lineup real quick for you guys. Trey Alexander, Keon Brooks, Garrison Brooks, our old friend DJ Carton, former two-way and Toronto Raptor. DJ Carton will be playing for Birmingham Squadron if he's healthy. I'm not totally sure, but he is on their roster. Hunter Dickinson, Chase Hunter. So we got Hunter Dickinson, Hunter Dickinson, and Chase Hunter. Jalen Moore, Bryce McGowan's the former Charlotte Hornet that's actually a very prolific scorer. He's somebody that we're going to have to watch out for. Trey Mitchell, Johnny O'Neal, Josh Oduro, Jaden Springer, another name of a player who's played in the NBA, and Christian Shumate. That is the Birmingham Squadron, the matchup for Andrew Jones's Raptors 905 today. Of course, the Raptors 905 players are still with the Raptors due to all the recent injuries for the Toronto Raptors. We're going to go over that soon. So no AJ, no Elijah. And this is sad because Elijah would be playing in Birmingham today if he wasn't with the Raptors in Toronto to play against the Sixers. But he'll tell you right now, I'm much happier playing in Toronto against the Sixers in the NBA than going to Birmingham Squadron in Alabama. Even though if he was in Birmingham, a ton of his people from Mississippi would be able to see him play in this game today in Alabama. But alas, the timing is interesting. And in some ways, Elijah Martin will be not in Alabama to play in front of maybe hometown fans. I would hope maybe those people go and support Raptors 905, even if Elijah Martin's not there. You could do that. Come on. AJ Lawson also with the big club. So Raptors 905 still depleted of their big four. Jonathan Bobo with the big club. And the two ways, well, two of them are with the big club, and one of them is out for a month at least. And that's Chucky Hepburn. So there's your check on 905 and the game set up for them. Let's get right into the latest lineup news for the Toronto Raptors. It's not good, guys. It's not good. RJ is already ruled out for today due to the ankle turn that he suffered at the end of the Celtics game the other night. So he is out. He is out for sure. RJ will not be playing today. Jakob is out for today also. But, there's speculation. We'll have to see when he could maybe come back tomorrow. I'm hoping that both RJ and Jakob could play tomorrow in the second game of the back-to-back. We'll have to see. Better news for Barnes and Ingram, though. They're not totally out. They're still deciding whether Scottie or Brandon Ingram are going to be available today against the Sixers and Kyle Lowry. Brandon, of course, it's a thumb injury. He's listed officially as questionable. And Scotty, of course, is a knee injury, and it is also a questionable status for him. Although they had somebody had downgraded him to doubtful. I think that was more on Friday. He was downgraded to doubtful. That's right. So, yeah, the injury report for the Raptors is tough. Well, if we're missing all of those guys, let me speculate what our starting lineup would look like. It would be something like IQ at starting point guard, obviously. Jacoby Walter at shooting guard. Colin Murray-Boyles and Sandro Mamukelashvili up front. And maybe they put Oshai or Grady in the starting lineup with all those guys out. So we'll have to see. Once again, we need to monitor Oshai and see if that DNP on Friday was just one time or if there's some weird trend coming up for Oshai Abaji, partly because of the trade deadline. So we'll just have to see how that all works out for that. So if I'm speculating, who knows? They may even jump Jamal Shed up to the starting lineup, although that may not be the best matchup with the personnel on the other side. Maybe Shed and Quickly versus Maxey and Edgecombe. Maybe. You guys think that Shed could cover VJ Edgecombe? I don't know. Put in the comments. Let me see what you guys think about Shed on Edgecombe. Or is it better to go with Walter on Edgecombe? And, then there's Paul George and there's, Joel. Well, actually, there's some news on Joel. We'll go over that right now. Latest lineup news for the Sixers. Joel is questionable today. He is on left knee injury management because, he's got to be load managed. He has to be load managed. And with the Sixers here for two games in 2 days, because they're going to play again tomorrow night too. We're going to play them today and we're going to play them right away tomorrow. It's very likely that Joel will miss one of the 2 games. And maybe because the Raptors have already signaled that Yak is out tonight, that they will say that Joel is out today also. And there may very well be no Joel for the Sunday game against the Sixers. And then he plays tomorrow. And maybe we have more guys back tomorrow also. So the Monday game may be more full strength for both teams. Today may be a little bit more of a for the Raptors especially. But the Sixers may not play Joel today just for management because he's not playing back-to-backs. And he's not going to play in both of the Raptors games in the next 2 days. He won't. The depth for the Sixers, we have seen them already this year twice. We're 1-1 with them. We lost the first game to them, it was a trap game. And then the second game, we came back and beat their ass. Well, these 2 games today and tomorrow are the last 2 games of the season series with the Sixers. And winning today puts us 2-1 and in a driver's seat to at least tie, if not win the series. A sweep of the Sixers of the next 2 days would be fantastic. But I don't know if it's realistic. We'll just have to see. It depends on how well we do today. If we do really, really well today with momentum and how we're dealing with them strategy-wise, maybe we go right into the next game and kick their butt in that game also. Because I'd love to win the season series against the Sixers and be 3-1 after tomorrow night's game. So we'll just have to see how this all works out. Anything's possible. It's just that things are not as possible when certain people are not available. And that is part of the problem right there. The Sixers are Tyrese Maxey at point guard, VJ Edgecombe at shooting guard, Paul George at small forward. He is healthy and he is playing. Dominic Barlow is their current power forward 5th starter at this point. And then Joel is day-to-day, as I said. He's probably going to sit today, in my educated opinion. The rest of the bench, Jared McCain, Quentin Grimes, Kelly Oubre Jr. has returned from injury, and he is available for them. Jabari Walker, Andre Drummond, Trendon Watford, who was a problem in a game earlier this season, Adam Bonner, Kyle Lowry, Jabari Walker, Eric Gordon, and Justin Edwards. That's pretty much their bench for the Sixers. The GOAT, Kyle Lowry, returns to Toronto for 2 games, and these honestly could be his farewell games to Toronto as an opponent, as he's probably going to retire in the offseason. And, well, that's a big deal. Kyle Lowry coming back to Scotiabank Arena, his home, away from Philadelphia. And in some ways, the crowd, I know when I go tonight, will have to shower some love towards Kyle, even though, he's the opponent. And just really honor and treasure one of the greatest Raptors of all time, Kyle Lowry, and what may be one of his final appearance here in Toronto ever. It probably is going to be the last 2 games he ever plays in Toronto, guys. So that is a big deal. That's a big deal. If he even plays, he might not even get out on the court, guys. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. But yeah, we love our Lowry. And well, we're going to see him today. So there's your latest lineup news. The Sixers are very interesting right now. They have been winning a lot better recently. They have won 5 of their last 6 games, and they are moving up in the standings. They're currently a half game behind us right now. So if we lose to them today, they jump over us in the Atlantic Division and the Eastern Conference standings. And the Raptors go to 4th in the Atlantic, and we drop down to 5th in the Eastern Conference. We may drop further because there are other teams that are right there also. I guess if we lose, we would drop. No, we wouldn't drop further. We'd stay in 5th, but we don't want to do that. We want to beat the Sixers today. And in some ways, that should be part of the motivation for the Toronto Raptors to get this win, is to stay above the Philadelphia 76ers in the standings. So that's a big deal. This is a kind of a really big game today, honestly, guys. All right, let's go look at the refs who are going to be in charge of the game today. At the replay center in Secaucus, it's Ben Taylor, Brett Nansel, CJ Washington, Michael Smith, and Sean Wright, because there are quite a few games today. But on the ground in Toronto, the crew chief today will be Mitchell Irvin. Mitchell Irvin is the Drake lover, number 27 in his 11th season out of New Orleans. His favorite TV show is the Power Book series. What is that? Is that like a computer how-to show or something like that? They're teaching him how to use computers? I don't know. His favorite movie is Coming to America, starring Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. His favorite musician is Drake. He is Drake. That's right. His favorite book is Between the World and Me. His favorite meal is char-grilled oysters, and his favorite app is TikTok. He most like to visit Africa, and his bucket list is skydiving. Let me see real quick. Mitchell has refereed once for us this year, and we won that game. Let's see. Irvin considers his most memorable NBA assignment to be his first game as a full-time NBA official in his hometown of New Orleans, when the Golden State Warriors' Steph Curry scored 53 points against the Pelicans on October the 31st, 2015. He also worked the Rising Stars competition at NBA All-Star 2019 in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, Mitchell Irvin has a weird history with us the last few years. A couple years ago, when Nick was our coach, he favored us heavy. We won a lot. And it may be that he likes Nick Nurse, is what I'm starting to think, because I pay real close attention to this stuff. He has not been nice to us since we've had Darko, though. Like, we had the first couple of years of Darko, Mitchell, every game he ref, we lost. So it's a really shady, weird thing. Although Mitchell is the best ref for us today, guys. We did win the first game he ref this year, and we have a 51% winning percentage over the Raptors' history with Mitchell Irvin. The Sixers win 41%. So 51-41 for the Raptors with crew chief Mitchell Irvin. The second ref today is going to be the veteran, longtime veteran, Rodney Mott, number 71 out of his 28th season out of New Albany, Indiana. His favorite TV show is Blackish. He likes the movie Shawshank Redemption. He listens to Stevie Wonder. His favorite book is World Without Cancer. He likes to eat vegetable stir fry. His favorite app is eBay. He'd most like to visit Jerusalem. Probably not a good time. Hidden talent, interior design. Yeah, Rodney Mott is an interesting ref. We've had him once this year so far, and we lost. Before joining the NBA, Rodney Mott spent 5 years officiating in the CBA, not the D League, not the G League, the CBA, which is a long time ago, guys. He also worked 8 years in the Los Angeles Pro-Am League, 3 years at the junior college level, and 4 years in the high school ranks in San Diego. Yeah, Rodney is a tough ref. He is the worst ref for the Raptors today. We lost the first game he ref this year. 46% is our winning percentage. Our team's winning percentage as a franchise over the history of the whole time is 47.3. So Rodney's right under that. And the Sixers have a little bit better of a record. They're 46.4. So 46.0 to 46.4. Pretty even, honestly. And with the home court advantage, maybe that's a nil. So we should maybe say it's a wash. It's an even match there as far as with Rodney Mott. He's a cantankerous old ref who's no nonsense and rewards effort and doing good things and not, being aggressive and working hard and playing hard. He will reward you with calls. So remember that, Raptors, when you're playing tonight. The last ref is Natalie Sago, number 19 out of St. Louis, Missouri, number 8 season. She loves the show Unsolved Mysteries. She likes the movie Home Alone. Her favorite musician is Morgan Wallen. Her favorite book is The Let Them Theory. Her favorite meal is steak. Her favorite app is Instagram. She most like to visit Fiji and watch a game in all 30 MLB stadiums. And her hidden talent is juggling. Yeah. Natalie Sago's father, Shelton, was a high school basketball official in Missouri for 35 years and a rules interpreter for the Missouri State High School Activities Association. He worked multiple state championships. Shelton was also a high school football official for 30 years. That's weird. We're doing a thing on her father in the middle of here. That's weird, man. But anyways, Natalie, we've had a lot this year. This will be the 4th game that Natalie Sago has refereed for the Raptors this year. We're 1-2. We won the first game she refed, and we've lost the last 2 games that she's refed. So we're 1-2 with her. In some ways, she's the worst ref today. It's like Mitchell favors us, Rodney's even, and she favors the Sixers. Natalie is 48% winning with the Raptors and 60% winning with the Sixers. So 48-60 is the split for Philadelphia with the third ref, Natalie Sago. So yeah, there's your ref crew: Mitchell Irvin, Rodney Mott, and Natalie Sago. It's a I don't know. It's a weird crew. I mean, Mitchell's so weird, man. At times I thought he was for us in recent years, but at other times I feel like he's gone against us also. It's weird because there was one year where, like I said, it was the year before we won every game he refereed. And then the second year after that, we didn't win a single game with him. So it's like 4-0 to 0-4 the next year. It's really weird. So hopefully we can have good stuff with the refs tonight. Good feelings. And I'll be there. I'll be talking to them. I actually I could sing some Stevie Wonder for Rodney Mott tonight. I could do I just called to say I love Rodney. We got to show love to our senior refs in the NBA. I mean, look at what happened to Bill Kennedy recently in the last Philadelphia game where he had a very serious leg injury. He had to leave the game. So it's like sometimes the refs, it's crazy. Like so many people are upset about Bill Kennedy getting hurt. And there's the outpouring of love is indicative. I mean, this is not normal for a ref, that a referee would get such positive vibes and such newsworthiness of an injury in a game. People have gotten hurt in games. And Scott Foster got hurt last year and had to miss a big chunk of the season because of a leg injury himself. And nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit. But Bill Kennedy, everybody cares. Everybody's like, oh, no, not Bill. Not Bill. No, not Bill Kennedy. No. But Scott Foster, yeah, let that motherfucker rot. It's just funny, man. That's just funny to me in some ways, though. All right, let's get in the comments with you guys, man. I got to get this stream done in 2 hours so I can get the day lined up so I can get down there and get loud. That's right. All right, let's start with, I'm sure it's going to be our guy, Trevor. Yes, sir. It's Mr. Trevor J, the commissioner of fun for this Raptor Freak channel. What are you saying today from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Trevor J? Words of wisdom. Started keeping your life to yourself when you learned it ain't the haters that do the most damage. It's the ones you thought were solids. Snake moves don't always come across the street. Sometimes they come from your own porch. Man, this is some down homey words of wisdom right here. In some ways, I feel like an old man on a porch told me this one. That's what I feel like this is, Trevor. This is like an old man, like you're walking down the street. He's like, youngster, come over here. I need to talk to you. He's like, this is what he's saying. He's like, started keeping your life to yourself. I get this. I get this, man. I get this, man. I've had so many frenemies over the years. I've had friends that absolutely I thought were solid, and they stabbed me in the back. Oh my gosh, so horribly. And in some ways, I've gotten used to not used to that happening, but more wary of that. You know, even through this channel, we've had this phenomena happen here, and yeah, it sucks. Part of it is, and I don't talk about this too much, is my human design is set up like this. I have a fifth line in my design, which means it's a kind of a weird situation. It's where, you know, some ways I have messages and things to say, but some people are not going to want to hear them. And this channel is very indicative of it sometimes. And in some ways, people will turn on me just because I'll say things that they don't want to hear. That's part of it right there. So either way, be aware of the people close to you as far as like their intentions and their behavior, and you know, be cautious. You know, who you let in, because like in some ways you can let people in. They're absolutely not the right person to have anything to do with you, and you don't even know it. You don't even know it. So I've gotten better at recognizing this stuff, and you know, it is true. Like sometimes it is family that's just your best people that are going to be supportive no matter what, and you hope that friends can be like that over time, but things change. And sometimes like anything, like a relationship or milk, it has its expiration date. And that's just it. That's just it. Blessings to the Jones family and all the Raptor Freak families. I appreciate that. Down homie. I feel like there's an old man on a porch that just told me that. The snake will come from your own porch right underneath you. You better check your feet. Trevor's saying happy game day. Beat the Sixers. That's right, man. Grudge match. Always a big time matchup. You know, in the standings right now, we're fourth and fifth. And that means that the playoffs started tomorrow. We would be in the first round against the Sixers. And right now, we'd have the home court. If we lose today, we'd flip to the visitor. And we don't want to do that, Raptors. Emmanuel Quickly and Jacoby Walter and Grady Dick. No, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We need to beat the Sixers because we want to stay above them in the standings. And also, if we can win the season series, the ramifications with seeding in the playoffs will be very important. You know, we need to have a better record than them so that if there is some weird tie, we can actually have the home court just in case. Because we're in that really interesting spot in the Eastern Conference where it's like around the 4-5, which is where you're flipping from a home court team in the first round to not a home court team in the first round. So in some ways, this is really important. I know Darko's saying he's not paying attention to the standings or saying this. He's kind of lying. I'll bet you that somebody on his staff is paying attention, though. He may not be himself, but I'll bet you somebody on his staff is paying attention. Oh, yeah. Trevor's saying this. Dennis Schroeder got suspended for fight 3 games. Yeah, this is a very interesting story. You know, I love Dennis. And in some ways, I'm a blindly side with him, especially in this situation. We know Luka is kind of a trash talker. Luka's kind of always, he's vocal on the court. He's a vocal player on the court. He's often talking to the refs. He's talking to the other team. He's talking to his teammates. You know, Luka is the kind of guy that talks trash. Yeah, there are some shades of Larry Bird trash talking in Luka Doncic. And, you know, these guys have battled so many times. Like Slovenia versus Germany is a big FIBA matchup. And honestly, Dennis and Germany, they beat Slovenia's ass regularly in the last few years. They absolutely destroy Slovenia. Slovenia is Luka, and that's it. It's not like they do a whole lot. Goran Dragic, ha, 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 yeah, right. That guy's nothing. And, you know, so Dennis has some backup to talk shit to Luka because of international affairs. And, well, I don't know. This is what Dennis did that was so wrong is he waited 40 minutes after the game for Luka and wanted to fight him outside the locker room. You know, this is old NBA shit. You know, this shit was common back in the day and nobody knew it. That, you know, players would get pissed off enough that they would try and fight each other after the game near the locker rooms. There's a famous case where they found a tunnel, the Clippers, and they went through the tunnel to get at the other team. I think it was the Rockets. And, you know, there's all kinds of crazy stories. Like Charles Barkley would talk about it. You know, Oakley, he wanted to fight people too after a game. So in some ways, this is something that's not really aberration. It's a very common thing from the past. Not common, but it was something that could happen and occur. So, but the NBA is not like this. And in some ways, it looks bad. And of course, Dennis is a player that's not necessarily a touted, celebrated guy. In some ways, he's a guy who's in the NBA, and some people would say despite a lot of things, but the dude's an international MVP. He's a FIBA star. He's absolutely one of the best international players in the world, if not one of the. He's not one of the better NBA players in the world, right? But he is one of the better FIBA players in the world. And there's a lot of respect that should come with that. But NBA circles won't give him that respect. It looks real bad, but honestly, I bet you Luka said some shit that was out of pocket. And, Dennis isn't going to get like that unless he really has a reason to get like that. I know Dennis Schroeder pretty well from his channel on YouTube. And the way him and Ellen move as a family and a couple, and the way he acts, he's not an angry guy. He's not somebody who gets amped up and gets pissed off. There must have been something really serious that Luka did that would make him be that mad for 40 minutes and to come after him. So I don't know. I'm looking at this with all the objective eyes as I can. The NBA's line will be, yeah, Dennis is a loser and Luka is a badass and an MVP. And look at the loser we just suspended. But I would want to look at the other side and understand what the fuck Doncic did to make Schroeder so fucking angry that he's doing that. That's what I would say to that, But either way, it's interesting. It's not really a big deal. It's just more drama in the NBA. That's all it is in some ways. Very interesting. James is here. James is here. He said, Lex, I offered you a trade on fantasy yesterday. It was a Sir Thompson for Jalen Tyson and Steven Adams. Would you do that trade? No. I don't want either of those guys. Steven Adams, he's old and washed up. And Tyson, who the fuck is that, bro? You trying to send me two nobodies for Osur Thompson? No way, bro. No way, man. I had one deal that I put up for that Thompson twin. It was to Amit because he had the other twin, and I wanted to get somebody on his team, but he rejected that deal at the beginning of the season. No, I won't do that, James. You're trying to fleece me? What do you think I am? You watch me every day. What do you think I am? A fool? No way I would do that deal. You might as well just take it down. I'll go come in there and reject it, but you might as well take it down. You better counteroffer something worthwhile. What are you trying to do to me here? This is crazy. Jalen Tyson? Who the hell is that, man? Well, at anything, it's Steven Adams. I think this was a joke, right? You're trolling, right, James? You're trolling right here, right? Stargate's here. Stargate's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Get well, Bill Kennedy. That's right. That's right. Get well. The most popular, amazing referee since Dick Bavetta. That's right. The most popular and amazing ref in the NBA, Bill Kennedy, since Dick Bavetta, that kissed Charles Barkley. Yeah, he's like that. He's that kind of like that. Yeah, let's see. Avia Forrester. My mother died. I like Toronto Raptors. That's sad. I hate to hear that. I don't know you. You're a new name in the chat, but you know what? Thank you for the subscription. And you know what? It's Sunday. Why don't we have a moment of silence for Avia's mother? I hate to hear this kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quiet moment for her just real quick. I don't even know you. This is your first comment ever in the chat, but we'll do this real quick. This is for Avia Forrester's mother, who just recently passed. May her spirit go to the most luxurious, beautiful, peaceful place of life, of happiness and prosperity and just joy and just no more suffering and just only good things for her. How about that? Oh, man. Let's see. All the glory to God. Amen. All the glory to God. Oh, my gosh. I hate to hear that, but go Raptors. That's right. Well, hopefully the Raptors can bring you a nice, peaceful distraction and help ease some of your pain in the early time with this. But, yeah, we feel for you. We feel for you, even though I appreciate you coming in. If you want to comment more, that's great. That's what this channel's for. Kesper is saying this. Heads up, freak. The league's major trade pieces have gone downhill in value, so they had to write exposés about Raptors failing to trade our players again to screw us with and divert attention and to screw with us. Yeah, I've heard this stupid stuff recently. Jake Fisher reporting that the Atlanta Hawks rejected a trade with the Toronto Raptors for Trae Young. This is so stupid, man, Kespera. It makes me mad. Jake Fisher's one of the worst ones for this too. Like he makes up such crazy shit, and so many people think he's so on and right. This is not true. This is not true. The Raptors, they're trying to say that we inquired about the Hawks and we were offering Abaji and Emmanuel for Trey Young. I doubt that Bobby did this. I think that this is just hearsay. Everything can be made up after the fact. And Bobby's not. The thing is that the front office of the Raptors never does fact checking. They don't come out and tell people publicly that that's wrong because in some ways they are trying to keep everything they do secretive. And if you kind of put out more information about how you operate, people can try and like figure out how you do things. So Bobby, even if there's so many things that are absolutely untrue said in the press, he never comes out and denies it or says anything because in some ways that's why. And this is absolutely false. And Kesper is exactly right. He's seeing it exactly for what it is that it's subterfuge. It's just made up shit. In some ways, it's just like what I was saying about Trey is like, this is the only place that wants him. Like I said, this is the only team that wants him. And maybe Jake Fisher heard some people saying that like me. And he's like, no, we're going to make up a rumor that Toronto wanted Trey Young too. That's absolute horse crap. That is absolute horse crap. And it sucks because Raptors Reddit and other people around Raptors Nation will believe this in hook, line, sinker, but it's absolutely disinformation and misinformation. Seriously. If Trey had a choice between Washington and Toronto, where do you think he'd want to go? And if he had any choice in where he wanted to go, don't you think he would tell Atlanta where to direct him like Siakam did when he left us? I don't think he had any fucking choice. And it's Jake Fisher just making up some bullshit. It could be also trying to save face for the sadness of that move. Trey's coming out and saying, "I want to revitalize my career and this city, and I'm coming to do that." Okay, that's all hot air and bullshit. And like I said, this trade looks sad and pathetic. And Jake Fisher's trying to put us below that trade with his bullshit misinformation, disinformation. So that's exactly right, Kesper. I wasn't even going to bring this up. I was kind of hoping that one of y'all would bring it up just so I could talk about it. But to me, it's nothing. It's not news. It's hot air. It's rumor. It's speculation. And the whole thing is, like I said, the front office of the Raptors, Masai and Bobby, they have never, ever come out and disputed anything said and said, no, that's a lie. Because in some ways, they couldn't, if they did that, they'd have to do this every other day. They'd have to do it at least multiple times a week. And it's just like it's tired. And in some ways, you give away your strategy and the way you do things if you talk too much about what you really did and what you really didn't do. It's a weird situation. In some ways, people are going to fill in the coloring book for the Raptors and information in different ways. I do that partly on this channel with my speculation. But people that don't like us will fill in the coloring book with ugly colors. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, they're screwing with us. And Kesper sees it exactly. And I like this. In some ways, it's like, look, we could talk about every single thing that happens in Raptors news, but it's up to you guys to learn how to discern information and take it for what it is and not fall for it. Because there's so much of this out there. And it's not just limited to sports. Obviously, it has to do with world politics also. It absolutely does. Fiercey's here. Good morning, MJ. Good to see you. Good morning, fam, and happy game day. My Bell internet and cell phone networks were both down yesterday. It's scheduled to be back up tomorrow, 10 p.m. I was livid as I work from home tomorrow. Jeez, yeah. This is part of the issue, like your dependence on the internet, your dependence on the phone systems and different things like that. It's something that like, this is what happens with me because this happens out here in the woods. My power goes out sometimes. And it can be like annoying. It can be a little weird because it's cold and you want to get warm. And you just put on extra layers and you read a book. That's what I've been doing when I have power outages. They cut the power off last Sunday for 15 minutes because they had to get a tree off of a power line down the street from my house. And it was just out for like 15 minutes. And I was like, oh man, this sucks. I'm like, I don't even understand why it's out. But you know what I did? I went and got the We the Raptors book by Eric Smith, and I just started reading. I had like enough light at that time still. Yeah, it sucks, especially if you have time deadlines that you have to do for work. and you're relying on that, yeah, it's tough. In some ways, they got to give you some leeway when these kind of things happen. And also, these telecommunication companies who we pay so much money to in bills, well, they should be giving money back when there's lossages of service. As far as it's not convenient for you to do stuff. Bell and Rogers should be paying big, huge money, just like the airlines pay to people with delays on flights and that kind of stuff. Well, at least they used to until Trump took that back in the United States. But they did have a really nice program where airlines were on the hold for screw ups like that. So I don't know, Fiercey. In some ways, I would go and talk to Bell and see if you can get a rebate or a money back for your inconvenience. Because that in some ways, yeah, a lot of people you can get that. So I don't know. Yeah, but she's upset mostly because it means she would have missed both Raptors games. Well, you got it fixed, right? It's back up so you can watch the game today. Priorities. All right. Work. I can't do work. Oh, well, I can't do work. That's all right. I'll be, it's fine. But, the Raptors game? No. No. So I'm looking to switch providers. It's the third outage in less than a month due to a cable being cut. Yeah. Yeah. That's why they say don't just go digging out in your yard. And if you live in a metropolitan area and other people are doing weird stuff, they can mess up your internet without you even knowing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's in your area, but I would definitely, if I'm in any kind of like telecommunications, whether internet or phone, I would definitely be moving away from the two big ones, Bell and Rogers. And like I have the phone with Freedom Mobile, and if you can get an alternate provider, I would do that for sure. Fiercey's got Bill Kennedy as the GOAT. I like that. And she's also has sympathies for Avia. Rest in peace to your mother. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough stuff. That is tough stuff. Raptors champs is saying this. Good morning, Raptor freaks and champs. Next man up. That's right. This is kind of the strategy for today. Once again, the golden ring is going around on the Calliope. Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter, Jamison Battle, AJ Lawson, Elijah Martin, Oshai Abaji. Yeah, you're on a carousel and you can get on a different animal, get on the horse, get on the lion, get on a bear. I don't care. Get on a different animal and run around that carousel, and that ring's just out of your reach. It's just there. How far are you going to reach out to grab that brass ring and go with it and take this opportunity in front of you, next man up? Because look, if we have most of our starting lineup out today, somebody's got to step up and beat the Sixers. And Grady Dick, you want to go beat Nick Nurse? You want to go beat Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, Emmanuel Quickly? That's what I'm saying. We need next man up today because RJ's out and Yak is too. And we don't know what Scotty and BI are doing. Hopefully we'll have at least one of them today and then the rest of those guys. Because in some ways, look, the opportunities are there, Grady. If you felt so good last year with the starts and the way you were playing last year, recapture that today. Seriously, stop messing around with your life. You only get one shot. YOLO. Get out there and kick some ass, Grady Dick, because your career, in some ways, the trajectory has changed this year. And in some ways, we need to reassess the trajectory. And, well, you could get that trajectory back going up again a little bit more. In some ways, with a very, very good performances against the Sixers over the next 2 days. So grab that brass ring, you carousel riders, you merry-go-rounders. Reach as far as you can from that thing and grab it. Hold on the rail and grab it. Grab that ring today. I say that to those young Raptors who there's room to expand. We saw Jacoby Walter get a good game last game. And that he grabbed the brass ring last game. We need to see more of that. That's right. Next man up. Indeed, Raptors champs. Next man up. That's right. Reggie's here. Good to see the smooth brown man. Fiercey, Bell fiber optic line being cut. I would suggest staying with Bell regardless of the problem, though. They've got the best network, in my opinion. There you go. He's saying for Bell. I mean, it is kind of a reliability thing, and I get what she's saying. In some ways, she wants reliability to be, especially for jobs tied into being able to be on the internet. Oh yeah. Fiercely saying this. Yes, I've seen many posts on the Raptors allegedly proposing a package IQ for Trey, but Atlanta declined. No offense for CJ McCollum, but you mean to tell me he's better? He's better than IQ? I call cap. Yeah, fake news. Yeah, Jake Fisher just putting out propaganda is really what it is. Jake Fisher's a Raptor hater. He always has been. And I get so confused why Raptors fans just love, like some of them just love him and they just believe everything he says. Stop doing that, Raptors fans. Jake Fisher's not our friend. He's an asshole. And he makes up shit about us all the time. And if you think that Jake Fisher's like Shams and Woj, you're crazy because he isn't. He is not. Trust me. In some ways, he's making up shit about us, and he never ever comes up here and talks to anybody around the Raptors. He's just making shit up. The people that know about the Raptors are Michael Grange, Josh Lewenberg, Blake Murphy, Doug Smith, and those kind of people. The people that are here in our market that live in Canada are the ones who know what's going on with the front office and the team way better than Jake Fisher's sorry ass sitting in New Jersey or New York, wherever the fuck he lives. So, yeah, stop listening to Jake Fisher, Raptors fans. Seriously, that dude is absolutely a propagandist for the NBA. And this is totally like support propaganda for the whole weirdness of Trae Young going to Washington. And in some ways, it's a way to try and sully us and make us look bad and all this stuff. It's absolute horse crap. It's absolute horse crap. IQ's way more time in his career than CJ McCollum coming up. And, Fiercey's exactly right. It's cap. It's cap. It's absolute cap. Let's see. Fiercey's saying, Reggie, I was beyond annoyed, but since I'll be able to watch the games, I guess I'll give Bell a pass. Priorities. I don't know. It's up to you. I would look at your alternatives and don't just listen to Reggie. Although he may be right that Bell might be your best choice in your area, unfortunately. So we'll just have to see. Infamous is here. Good to see Infamous. Salute, freaks. The game on the 28th of December, Luka told Dennis he should have signed that $80 million. Dennis said, I'm going to put a hand on you after the game and tried to fight him. There's video proof. Yeah, I don't care about that. This is from not even a recent game. This is from a game that happened in December that Dennis is getting in trouble for. I didn't look into this too much. I just saw the headline and I was like, oh, okay. Dennis was after Luka after the game. Is this a joke, Infamous? Are you being serious? Because the whole thing about Dennis and the money thing is like something that people have bullied him for in many, many years. I don't think he gets mad about this. In some ways, that doesn't line up with my logic and reasoning for why. To me, the things that have gotten Dennis Schroeder the most mad in recent years has been racial issues. Has been people saying things are out of pocket about the color of his skin. And it's not about money. In some ways, I don't see him getting mad about somebody making a joke about his whole issue with the Lakers. See, this is the thing. I critical think everything out. And that doesn't make any fucking sense. And you're also saying that this incident happened in December 28th and they're just coming around to suspend him now? Nothing's checking with that, Reg. Infamous. That doesn't sound right, Infamous. That doesn't sound right to me. There's a couple holes in that story right there. The fact that it's so late since then. And the fact that you're saying that the trigger was the 80 million thing. No, that doesn't sound like Dennis would be upset about that. That's what I'm saying, man. What if the NBA, and I'll be a conspiracy theorist, I'll propagandize like Jake Fisher a little bit. I'm not saying this is true. What if Luka said something racial to Dennis and that's why he came after him? And the NBA doesn't want that out in any kind of way. That's a possibility, right? You got to understand, Dennis Schroeder is very sensitive to racial topics, being married to a white woman and living in Germany. And he hears this kind of shit from people back in his home country. He hears it here in North America too. And so he's very sensitive to this issue specifically. And I have seen him go crazy on people for being racist against an interracial couple that he is in. I don't know. Once again, people are going to give you their reasoning for why things happen, and they may be absolutely lying and making up storylines. So, yeah, you go ahead and say it's the money. That's a tired old subject that's so long and dead that I'm sure Dennis is totally at rest about that whole thing with the Lakers. Sure, he's still a butt of the joke to people, but at some point, doesn't he just get a tougher skin and say, okay, yeah, but I still have all these millions I've made since. And I have a happy family with 3 beautiful kids and a beautiful wife. I don't know. We can logic this out, Infamous. That doesn't make any sense, what you just said. I'll go look at the details, though. Fiercely saying, Lex, Luka turned Dennis down during the game by saying you should have signed that contract in reference to the Lakers contract. So you're saying it too? I don't think that, man, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we don't have to talk about Dennis Schroeder incident all stream. In some ways, he's a former Raptor. It pertains, but in some ways, it's not really that interesting to me, honestly. In some ways, let's see. James is laughing. Fiercely saying this. A couple of weeks ago, I also got a fantasy trade proposal from the load managers. It was bad. I mean, really bad. Getting rid of Duncan Robinson. Hang on. Miles Turner and Dylan Brooks for 5 players. No thanks. So James is trying to fleece people with his trade proposals. Well, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. Didn't you have one to go through recently? There was a trade that happened with James recently. I think it was with Meredith, and Meredith was okay with it. He did it. I don't know, man. It's crazy, man. Infamous saying, thank you, Lex. I don't believe any of those rumors, those trade rumors. I don't believe they wanted Young either. No, we didn't want Trey Young. That doesn't make any freaking sense. Not whatsoever. If I'm completely wrong and Bobby Webster did try and do this, well, I'm wrong and I apologize. But to me, this doesn't make any freaking sense. And I think it's like I said, they're just trying to, throw us under the bus, reputation wise, or something like that. It's so stupid, man. Kareem Thomas is in the house, our 3-time dunk champion for this channel. He's saying, I swear, people who read or listen to anything from Jake Fisher, I will block in 2026. This guy sucks and only reports garbage. He has never broken anything, just a gossip bitch like ESPN. Well, he has been right a couple times, but that's like a broken clock. It's like that statement. It's like he's most of the time not right. Let's just put it that way. His batting percentage on being factual and correct is not good. In fact, mine's probably way better. And all kinds of prognosticating and predicting and stuff like that. I probably have a better percentage with that than he does with putting out information about the NBA and trades and stuff. And that's different. They're 2 different departments, but I bet you I have a better accuracy percentage than he does. I bet you I do. Seriously. You guys know I predict stuff all the time and it comes true like within a couple months. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. If you tell me you're a Jake Fisher fan and you're somebody who like really loves what Jake writes about and you're a Raptors fan, I'm be like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, man? That guy was the guy who was pushing so hard for us to get Kevin Durant and making up all this crazy stuff. And in some ways, he was very damaging with the things with Scotty. And, we were around Scotty at that time when Jake Fisher was inflaming the Kevin Durant trade talks that summer in 2022. And Scotty wasn't having it, man. He hated that stuff. It got to the point where he blocked the name Kevin Durant on his Twitch stream in the comments because he was just sick of people bringing it up, talking about it over and over again. And this is this bullshit that Jake Fisher causes with his irresponsible bullshit that he does. And Scotty was like, yeah, we don't want to trade you to Brooklyn, Scott, is what I kept telling him. And I'm like, that's stupid. Why would we trade you for Kevin Durant? Kevin Durant's near the end of his career and you are just starting. You are just starting. So this is some of the stuff with Jake Fisher that's absolutely horrendous. That's right. Fiercely saying Jaylen Brown spoke up yesterday after Celtics lost the Spurs, called out the officiating. That's rich. Said he doesn't mind catching a fine. Spurs went to the free throw line like 20 times versus 4 for the Celtics. That's awesome, man. I like that. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I like this. I'm not like, oh, he's right. No, I like this. You should be complaining. Celtics, I feel like, are a golden boy team, and they get all this favor by the NBA. If you didn't get favor against Wemby in the second night of a back-to-back against the Spurs, so be it. Good. In fact, let's go to the Instagram stories real quick. We got Kelly Olynyk celebrating a 5-point win over the Celtics with the Spurs last night. That's awesome. We softened them up for you, Wemby and Coach Mitch Johnson. Yeah, we softened them up for you so you could beat their ass on Saturday night. And that's awesome. I love that. I want the Celtics to lose to the Spurs. Go ahead and whine and cry, Jaylen Brown. Go ahead and whine and cry. I thought you were above that. Come on now. Elijah Martin has posted another video on his YouTube channel. Y'all, seriously, follow Elijah. He's got not a lot of subscriptions on his YouTube channel right now. And in some ways, he has a new clip out that just came out yesterday. It's about 10 minutes, and it's about his Winter Showcase Cup experience in Orlando recently with the Raptors 905. You see really good footage of him playing in the games. You see how quiet it is in the arena where they played the Winter Showcase because it's all scouts and GMs and no fans. And you see like his experience of going to get swag and just interacting with people like that. So find Elijah Martin on YouTube and follow his new YouTube channel. He's got 3 clips up in the last week, and they're fantastic. You get to see a behind the scenes view of Elijah's life. So check it out. You can find it on his Instagram. He has the links up there. So yeah, check it out. Jonathan Mobo has words of wisdom for us, a passage this morning on Sunday. Psalm 103.2 NLT. Let all that I am praise the Lord. May I never forget the good things he does for me. Don't forget who got you there, is what Jonathan is saying. That's right. Believe in the Creator and have faith in the Creator, that the Creator is going to make everything all right in the end, in the balance of nature and what the Creator created, and that the natural order and the way of things always has a way of balancing out, even when there's evil and unnatural around. That's always the case. That, it's interesting. Plants can actually save us in so many different ways. Toxic sludge, oil spills, all kinds of pollution that's man-made is absolutely cleaned by plants. And there's all kinds of theories in permaculture and procedures to detoxify environment through using plants. And there really is some really amazing ways for us to clean up our planet by using permaculture. And man, I've been following this guy named Jeff Lawton. He's down in he's Australian, and he's just a guru for permaculture. If you guys go look him up, if you have an interest in this area of knowledge, Jeff Lawton for permaculture, absolutely amazing guy. And he has a new podcast out in the last couple of days about this subject, about cleaning up the environment. So yeah, you'd be surprised what plants are designed to do. And often if you have an invasive plant that's on your property or doing things, it's because you have a problem in your soil and they're fixing it. And they'll only hang around until it's fixed. And then it'll be gone after that. So that's often the case. Nature knows better, and it's just perfect in its own. The Creator does not make mistakes, as Trevor would say. That's right. There's Jonathan. I guess he's at church. He's going to church. Serious players only. Let's see. Lindsey Dunn is really weird the last couple of days. She's been in Indiana with the Pacers, but she's shadowing Amy Audibert of the Miami Heat. Of course, Amy used to be a broadcaster for the Raptors, and she took a job in Miami because she was a former player for the Hurricanes in college, and she's now, a studio host for the Miami Heat games on their telecast. Now, Lindsay dropped a hint recently that she's done with City TV and not working for them anymore, and she has new opportunities in the new year, this year, in Canada and in the United States. So I'm not sure what she's doing. Not following the Raptors, because the Raptors are in Toronto, and she's with the Pacers and the Heat all of a sudden. So something's in the mix for Lindsey Dunn professionally. And something's changing. We'll have to see. There's Jacoby Walter shooting that shot. I love his new ritual before the game with equipment manager Curtis Andrade, how he does a little soccer kick, and then he gives it to Jacoby, and then he turns around and hits a three. Yeah, they added a part with it recently with Jameson. Jameson Battle did a little like head butt to the ball to Jacoby, and then he hits the three. It's kind of cool. Sandro Mamu with highlights from him against Boston on Friday with a big dunk there, and he was eating borscht and pierogies last night. That looked good, man. Those pierogies look really good, Sandro. There's Fred VanVleet with some highlights from the Houston game. Kevin Durant just passed Wilt Chamberlain on the all-time scoring list, and Fred VanVleet is giving kudos to his friend, teammate, and first guest on his podcast. There's Jamal Shed has posted an old school photo of Jacoby Walter, rookie Jacoby Walter with his hair. It's an old picture. Like, it really is going to be, you can see, it's rookie Jacoby because it's very definitive. The hair to the hair this year. So we can tell this is a picture from before, unless Jacoby grew his hair real quick all of a sudden. No, I don't see that. That's a throwback. And Shed's celebrating his friendship with his fellow teammate, Jacoby Walter. So, yeah, he's also celebrating a Houston win, a 77-55 win for the Houston Cougars this weekend. Let's see what else we got in the Instagram right now. We don't need to do those people. Let's see. Jacoby Walter putting on blast the big dunk by Colin Murray-Boyles, where he climbed the ladder and dunked it on Peyton Pritchard. Dunked it right on his head. That was awesome. Serge Ibaka's with a bunch of people dancing. I'm not sure where they are. Wait, they're in Uganda. That's where they are. Shea Boss Mutoto. So where in the world is Serge Ibaka? He's in Uganda. That's where he is. Colin Murray-Boyles was hugging a kid at the Charlotte game last week, and they're saying that he missed his dog. So yeah, there you go. There's the Instagram stories for today. Interesting stuff happening in the Raptors world as always. That's right. That's right. Infamous is saying that I need to get a portable generator. Some of my neighbors have them. The thing about portable generators, and one of my best friends, he's in this business. He delivers portable generators to businesses and drives them all over Ontario, and he knows all about this. My plan is, Infamous, is to actually get panels and to kind of have my own energy generated here. So I guess I need battery storage here and kind of get my own system here. I mean, I don't know. I'm still in the early stages of looking into it. I just chopped down a huge tree in my yard that'll allow me to get good sunlight for panels. So I'm in the early process of probably getting panels. And I don't know how that would interact with things and stuff. And yeah, it would be interesting to get a generator, but in some ways, I don't want to get one that runs on fossil fuels. That's the other thing is I'm really pivoting in my life away from oil and gas as much as possible. Whether it's an electric truck, an electric lawnmower, an electric snowblower, which I just got for Christmas. And unfortunately, most of the generators run on fossil fuels, and they're nasty and they smell. Like when my neighbor runs theirs when the power's out, I can smell it and it's gross. And I'm just like, that's awful. I know they have to do this because they have a family with small children and a lot of people over there. But for me, it's gross. And in some ways, that's the turnoff for me with getting an emergency generator. Is that part of it. So if I can get a different way to get the energy without having fossil fuels involved, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. Nako's here. Good to see Gerald holding it down for us in the 905, the Mississauga. I've been reading Red Rising. It's about this miner on Mars, and all of a sudden he has to overthrow the dystopian society. That's interesting. That's interesting. Well, yeah. That sounds like that may be a how-to book. We might need that. Let's see. Fiercely saying, Lex, to your point, I did major cleaning and reorganizing yesterday, so I made the most of the outage. That's the thing. Like, there's all right. I want to talk about something really serious, and this may be. I don't want to scare people. The powers that be, if they turn fascist, they will use utilities as a point of pressure, and one of those things could be taking your electricity away. Could be taking your internet away. The other thing that's really scary is all of our banking is digital now. They don't want us to be cash oriented anymore. They want it all to be cashless. Part of that is for power. Is that think about it. If you have all your money electronically online, and this has happened in China, guys. What I'm saying right now happens in China. If they are really mad at you and the state is mad at you, they will take your internet away from you. They will take your electricity away from you. They will take your ability to get online to get your bank money out. I know that's raising major alarms in a lot of people's heads right now. I'm just saying, if the world is going really screwy and crazy with fascism, don't put it past the people in power to cut off your ability to have these things just to spite or be like powerful. So in some ways, for me, I'm pivoting to a world where I get back to where our grandparents and great grandparents are, just in case. Because our reliance on digital and internet and all this stuff is not totally natural. It's not natural. And in some ways, Fiercey finding a very productive day off the internet is more like in line with humanity and what we've done for hundreds of years. It's the new age of being on our screens and everything. That's not natural. So just as a precaution, understand this, guys, that this has been weaponized in certain fascist communities already around the world. And if things change in a certain way, like we have a charter of rights here in Canada that should protect us to have the rights to have things in our life, right? But, there's so many different things that can change where all of a sudden, people are getting things cut off partly because of their beliefs or them being an activist against the regime. Stuff like that is happening on the down low already in the United States. So just so you know, in some ways, to get less reliant on the digital world is probably a good thing coming up. It's probably a good thing. Let's see. Fiercely saying this. Last season, the rookies put up good fights as starters when our main guys were out. They should grab the opportunity to showcase why they're part of the squad. And we now added Colin to the mix. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have an interesting young bench mob. And the opportunity to make a name or make an imprint or show something that gives you more in the NBA is there for any of these guys. And that means Elijah, AJ, any of them, Jonathan, any of y'all. You do some things today in a big way, in a winning way, and help the Raptors beat the Sixers. Yeah, you're going to turn heads and you may get more favor for more on your table, on your plate, for you as a player on the team. And that's what I'm saying. Don't waste your life. Get out there and excel and play the best that you can. Play perfect. Play the system. Play the way Darko wants you to, and show success. And then boom goes the dynamite. All of a sudden, you're getting a bigger chunk of the rotation minutes. And you may even get to start all of a sudden for a while. That's what I'm saying right there. That's important. Fiercely saying vote for your NBA All-Stars and G League. That's right. Remember the G League. Don't forget them, especially since the G League team has been such a good team this year with their record. They truly deserve some good representation in the next man up game. Next man up game. Yeah. Smooth saying this. This was from last February, Trae Young. Not sure why Jake Fisher bringing that up now. That was from last year. I don't know. That was last year's trade deadline. Either way, it's bullshit. And maybe it's, you know what it could be? It could be that Raptors fans found it and they're just rehashing it. Or there could be enemies of ours that are in Raptors Reddit that found it and they're rehashing it just to confuse things. You know, either way, I'm glad you clarified this. I mean, I vaguely remember this from last year. I vaguely remember this lie from last year. I really do. Let's see. KT saying this. My wife works for Rogers. So my home, hang on, it jumped ahead. Let me make sure. My wife works for Rogers. So my home security, cell phones, internet, and TV packages are all discounted 50% off. I love Rogers Communications, but I hate Ed Rogers the third. That's a tough, man. That's a tough one right there. I get it. I get it. Fiercely saying Luka taunted Dennis, not turned. And yes, it is following the December 28th loss versus the Lakers. Maybe Dennis got ultra sensitive because they were losing, as he is indeed used to trolls and reference the contract. It doesn't make any sense to me. First of all, why the delay on this? If they knew he did this like at the days after, they should have suspended him immediately almost. Like, this is weird. This is like 2 weeks later. And then the other thing is that doesn't add up for why Dennis would get so mad. I'm telling you right now, Dennis is not somebody that flies off the handle like that. And in some ways, I've heard him talk about Luka on his stream before, and he has a lot of respect for Luka, and he thinks Luka's really good. So for him to get that mad at Luka had to do something really crazy, guys. I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Dennis is just crazy," but if you just don't know Dennis, if you kind of just look at him surface level or all the bullshit and the things that have happened in his career over the years, that's not fair because you don't really know who he is. And like I said, he put himself out there pretty heavy on Twitch and on his YouTube channel. And his wife does too. So it's like I see the inner life of him, and I see how peaceful and how loving he is. He's not an angry person. I mean, in some ways, it may have been annoying getting traded so much in the last few years, but it's not adding up. It's not adding up, especially when I know Dennis has said that he really respects Luka as a player in his place in the basketball world, whether it's FIBA or the NBA. This is not adding up. There's something strange about this whole thing. There's something very strange about it. And I think that him making fun of his contract, that's not a thing that would trigger him. That's not a thing that would trigger him. Smooth saying this, where is Duncan Robinson now? Is it in Detroit? I don't even know, man. I wouldn't even take that trade in some ways. I think he is in Detroit. That's right. Yeah, he's in Detroit and puts up good numbers on my fantasy team. Yeah, okay. So he's had a pretty good part of his career in a new team away from Miami. That's interesting. That's interesting. I wasn't sure if he would show up somewhere else and do any good. In some ways, the ecosystem of the Heat was conducive to Duncan Robinson. I thought he had a lot of flaws as a player. And when he got signed by Detroit last year, I was like, oh, maybe he won't be as good in Detroit. And he'll kind of seem like he's actually kind of not a good player. Because he's one of these undrafted guys that Miami kind of just found. And sometimes it works in Miami, but he goes somewhere else, it doesn't work. That's interesting to hear he's doing all right in Detroit. I mean, they're doing really well, so he must be. He must be. Blackhawks coming in with dog. That's right. KT saying, imagine if Jake Fisher had any other job and had this type of accuracy, quality of work, he'd be fired. He's a fucking bot and loves engagement. Exactly what we did today during the stream. Yeah, that's part of it. Like it is very much clicks and subscriptions and being controversial and getting interest and a lot of the stuff that people do with content creation right now is kind of just messed up. It's like they'll false advertise this is what the clip is, and then you come in and it's absolutely not what it said. So there's so much of this right now. And in some ways, that's kind of the energy of Jake Fisher. Let's just put it that way. That's the energy of him. Trevor J saying that Colin and Martin, Elijah, number 1 and 2 on NBA Game Time countdown highlights. They got the number 1 and 2 highlights yesterday for NBA Countdown. That's fantastic. So I guess Colin was number 1 with that crazy dunk, and Elijah's dunk got number 2. Hey, I like that. I like that we got some shine on NBA Countdown for highlights of the top 10 from the night before. Neil's saying this: get panel and a wind turbine. The solar panel industry is putting out better panels, but newer technologies still takes too long together to market. Well, there's programs here in Ontario. There were, at least, hopefully there still are, where we could try and figure this out. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. There's a lot of people in my area that have the panels already. And a lot of the things that people worry about with the panels are crazy. One of them, my friend Chris brought up when he was here the other day, was like, what happens when the snow covers your panels, like on the roof? Because a lot of snow will come down. I've heard different things. I've actually heard that the panels actually heat up a bit and actually kind of melt the snow off your roof and continue to take in energy. There's a lot of myths about solar, like things like, oh, solar doesn't work because there's night. It's crazy, man. They don't understand that the solar panels actually charge up and charge the energy and get you in there. You want to get wind turbine also? I don't know. That seems like that would be more expensive. And in my specific situation, I don't think wind would work at my place because I have so many trees right around here and they kind of block a lot of wind in my yard, but maybe it would work. I don't know. The classic windmill. I should just get a windmill. I should just get a windmill or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to see. The technology is changing a lot really quickly. It's too bad North America's got its head up its ass and so addicted to fossil fuels that it's not pivoting like the rest of the world is towards green, sustainable energy. Yeah, well, we'll catch up at some point. At some point, there's a breaking point of profitability and what makes money, and all of a sudden they'll switch. But in some ways, the fossil fuel industry is going to hold on and just kind of ruin the world more and more and stop the future from happening as long as they can with lobbyists and policy and politicians in their pocket and bullshit. Let's see. Kaloy saying, yeah, those solar panel systems are awesome, Lex. I live in a condo right now, and it's not possible for me. When I used to live with my parents, I had a makeshift system with boat batteries. That's cool. That's very interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna be very doing more research this year. I don't think it's something that we'll put up yet this year, but I'm gonna definitely be looking into the avenues for it and how it would work. Definitely. Because being more sustainable, whether it's food supply or whatever it is, energy sources is a good thing right there. That's right. It's a good thing. Neil's saying there are solar panels for balconies in Europe. North America hasn't caught on to balcony solar. It's really partly is because they don't want people to have power. A lot of the systems in North America are to take away power from the people. And whether it's like not teaching people how to grow food or, doing screwy thing like spraying glyphosate over the countryside, which actually kills and hurts the soil in a lot of ways. There's a lot of screwy things they're doing to mess with people's liberty and ability to be free and on the down low. And it's not even really spoken or put out there. It's really crazy. Like, if you think about it, they don't want us to be able to take care of ourselves. The more we have to depend on the system, the more we have to depend on everything that corporations do for us, the happier they are because we're customers. If we get to a point where we're autonomous and we don't need all this and we're more independent, that hurts business. And in some ways, that's part of the way they shape education and they shape resources and what we're doing. And solar and green and sustainable energy is a independence thing for people. And that's why there's so much against it. And a lot of it is just the bureaucracy of the bullshit of the political systems of North America holding things back. We could do so much more quickly just like the rest of the world, if we didn't get caught up in all this red tape and all this interference by the fossil fuel lobby. Seriously, there's a lot of that. It's a lot of that right there. A lot of that right there. Balcony solar would be great for me. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're going to figure this stuff out over time. It's going to come either way, whether they like it or not, because people want it. And it's actually going to be more cost effective at some point. Watch, it's going to be way more cost effective. Neil's saying this: if you get 2 days of full solar, that considerable amount of savings to your energy, 2 or 3. That's what I'm saying, man. There's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of disinformation about that kind of energy. And that's very much the strategy, part of the strategy of the fossil fuel lobby to muddle things and make things seem even crazier. Like people were telling me a couple of years ago, don't get an electric car because the batteries are so heavy, they'll weigh your tires out and you'll have to buy tires over and over again. I've had an electric car now for almost 2 years, and it is a heavier vehicle, but the tires don't seem to be worn any different than anything. And other things like, oh, if it's cold, the truck won't work. That's bullshit too. That truck works fine in minus 20-degree weather. I've used it in that weather, and there's no problem with the electric car in the winter. There's so much bullshit. People try to say this is a problem with it, and this. No, actually, the electric vehicle has helped me out with the power outages. There's the ice storm last year. My power was out for 5 days here. I was using my truck to charge my car, my phone, and I was using it for heat. And it literally is an electric generator itself, the truck. So it's like, in some ways, he said, go get an electric generator, Lex, just in case. And I'm like, actually, my truck's kind of a mobile generator in some ways, just because it's electric, it's hybrid. So it's interesting. It's an interesting time we live in. And well, pivoting towards green, not Draymond, is good. That's what I say. He's going to bring up Draymond here. Reggie's saying Dennis got into an altercation with Draymond Green a couple nights ago after the game. I think the suspension has to do with that. Okay. Well, why are people saying he went after Luka? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe, all right, maybe this is what it is. Maybe they're two different stories. And Dennis did this thing with Luka, and that wasn't a big deal, but maybe the NBA warned him. And then he did something with Draymond, and that makes more sense. I could see Dennis being pissed off at Draymond and coming at Draymond. We got to remember, Dennis was on the Warriors with them in the last 2 years, playing with them for just a really brief time, and it didn't work out. And so he was around Draymond in the locker room. So it could very well be Draymond said something that keyed him off. And that makes more sense to me than anything centering around Luka. It really does. Because once again, I said that, even if Dennis was waiting around for Luka on the December the 28th game, he didn't get in trouble for that. This makes more sense, what you're saying right here. A couple of nights ago with Draymond Green. So we're crossing information here, is what it seems like. Yeah, he was talking to Green and Draymond clapped back. I thought it was all jokes, though. Yeah, but Draymond, listen, and Fred brought this up recently on the Unguarded podcast. Draymond Green is a character. Draymond Green, in some ways, is playing up who he is, partly to make money and also to be entertainment value for the NBA. And that's part of the reason why they like him. That's part of the reason why they want him to do this, because they need Dennis Rodman types around the league. In some ways, that's a character. And, Fred went into this very clearly on his podcast. He said, there's some guys in this league that are playing a role, and they're absolutely cartooning themselves even worse than actually who they are as a real person. And he's specifically talking about Draymond and Dylan Brooks. And he knows from playing with Dylan Brooks as a teammate on the Rockets for a couple of years, he saw the disconnect between what Dylan was doing on the court with his mind games and his crazy shit, and who he was behind the scenes in the locker room, and the way he was very much for the team and very much a good teammate and like a totally chill person, and actually nothing like the persona that's portrayed in the NBA. So Fred was like, yeah, these guys, in some ways, they are playing into these roles to make more money and be around in the league longer. In some ways, that's part of their bread and butter. So, but Draymond is very cocky, and he can say some stuff to people that's very hurtful, and he has no respect for them. So this makes way more sense than the Luka part, as far as what I think, That's let's see. Neil's saying this: many of the batteries people do it themselves, but if you're not into it, They get EcoFlow or Blue Yeti battery systems. Just know that solid state batteries are the future to avoid fires. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, this is definitely a industry and technology that I keep up to date through Chris because he's involved in emergency generators and what he does with his work at this point, from pizza to that. So we talk about this kind of stuff sometimes when he comes over and we just hang out. Very interesting. Neil saying my son has hybrid and he spends less on gas than I do. Oh yeah. Yeah, I spend $70 a month on gas. I'm not lying. I'm serious. I mean, I don't drive every day and I'm not driving like all the time. I don't commute to work or anything like that. But for my needs, I can get away with like spending $70 to $100 a month for my fuel. Does that sound horrible? Does that sound like electric's bad? I mean, it is half gas, half electric, my truck. But I look at it like a video game. I try and drive that thing around as much as possible on the electricity and not on the gas. And there's tricks and ways to do that. You know, they tell you how much you're using into the gas with this meter. And I really play a video game where I'm trying to keep it right where it's staying in electrical charge. And it's crazy because I can extend my gas tank to like 1,000 clicks. I fill up the tank and I get 1,000 kilometers off of one tank of like 70 bucks, something like that. It's crazy, man. It's so awesome. Monique is here. Good to see you, super fan Mo. Good morning, Rap Freak crew. Happy game day. Happy game day to you, Mo. I'm going to the game all of a sudden. I know I told you the other day I had no plans to go to any games recently, but Adriana threw a curveball at me on Friday and said, hey, I want you to go to the game with me because I'm bored and I want to get out of the house. And it's a Sunday game early. So you want to go to the game? I'll get the tickets. I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, am I going to refuse free Raptor tickets because Adriana wants me to come with her? No. She has a program because she has epilepsy that she gets passport funding, which is encouraging people to go out and do stuff. And they basically reimburse her for her tickets. She sends the receipts and they pay her to go out. Honestly, that's a great program. You know, people that have epilepsy may be worried about going into public because of seizures and they may live shut-in lives. So that's why they have this passport funding kind of program, is to encourage people to get out and socialize and have a real life and not be confined to their home. So I really appreciate that program by the Canadian government and what they do to help Adriana have a rich life. So yeah, I go officially as her not a caretaker, but as her friend that is there to watch out just in case she has an epileptic seizure. Now, she has had seizures at Raptors games, and it's been very interesting when that happens. But it all works out, and you know, I'm just very grateful that she wants me to come with her. Plus, I get to see her, and I don't get to see her all the time, so that's cool too. So yeah, Mo, I think you told me you're not coming to this game. You have your schedule for this season. I mean, this month coming up, and I think that you were telling me the game days that you were going to be there. But either way, super fan Mo, I'm gonna try and bring the vibes today and get that W down at the arena tonight. If you are going, let me know. If you are going tomorrow, let me know too. Kareem saying, sorry, but Luca apparently called Dennis a bitch. Dennis only standing on business. He should have waited until Luca got to the parking lot. I mean, we don't want to encourage this kind of behavior where people are trying to come at people through tunnels and stuff like that. You know, we don't want to encourage this in some ways. It's stupid. Man, Dennis, get it together, bro. Have more Zen, a little bit more meditating, maybe, and then not flying off the handle in weird ways like this. That's right. Yeah. Neil's saying $70 is better than spending $400. Yeah. 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 I'll go. I'll probably have to fill it up on the way down when I'm going down today because it's getting close to about a quarter tank right now. And I'll probably fill it up on the way down just for uh uh you know, peace of mind. And yeah, and then I'll probably won't have to fill it up again for another 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so, or 4 weeks even. Depends on how much I drive. Superfan Most saying, guys, Elijah officially posted on YouTube. Yeah, I was talking about that earlier. He has very few subscriptions, and I want everybody to go subscribe to his channel. And yeah, he has his third clip out yesterday at Winter Showcase, but he has two really cool clips from last week where he goes home to Summit, Mississippi, and he is in a parade that they threw for him. It's really good. You're going tomorrow. Okay, so we got it covered. Super fans got it covered. I'll take today, and Mo will take tomorrow, and we'll make sure RFF Energy's in the house. That's right. I'm gonna go down there and get loud tonight. That's right. All right, let me check on my tabs since we're at the end of the chat here. Let's see. Is there any breaking news about the Raptors? Maybe about anything? Man, there's really a lot of people out in the streets right now. Kelly Oubre is available, is what Blake Murphy said 30 minutes ago. Joel Embiid is questionable, and Scotty and Brandon are questionable also. Okay, that's the breaking news check. Let's see. Raptors Reddit. Dare I go there? Let's see if there's anything I want to talk about here. Scotty Barnes is the only player this season with 50-plus blocks and 50-plus steals in the NBA this season. There's a really cool graphic on Raptors Reddit right now. The top 75 in charges taken since 2017. And well, we know the guy who's on the other side, who's gonna be playing against us today. The GOAT, Kyle Lowry, is number one on this. He's like head and shoulders way above everybody else. I'm trying to see if I can see any current Raptors on here. Why is Aaron Baines on there? That is crazy. Why would they even put him on here? There's Thad Young right in the middle. That's weird. PJ Tucker. There's Dennis. He's just above LeBron, but below Draymond. This is such a weird graph. Why did they pick these individuals? Like, why is Aaron Baines on here? Seriously. Why would you even put him on here? Yeah, I don't see any of the other Raptors on here. There's Marc Gasol. That's weird. That's weird. It's a weird graphic. Anyway, you can go check that out on Raptors Reddit. Let's see. They're still asking who should we get on here like crazy. Defensive rating. The Raptors have the third best defensive rating in the NBA right now, behind Oklahoma City and Detroit. We're number 3. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, this is stupid. Somebody wants to trade Emmanuel Grady and 3 first-round picks to Memphis for Jaren Jackson Jr. Does that make any sense? There's the Fisher thing right there. That's stupid. Let's see. Jake Fisher putting out more bullshit here. He's saying this. League sources tell the Stein line that the Kings are not interested in taking back the contracts of either Emmanuel Quickley or Jakob Pearl. Yeah, he's in full effect slamming us. And he's part of the reason why everybody says that Pirtle and IQ are overpaid, because Jake Fisher has put that perception out, and he continues to put that out. And this doesn't sound exactly right. He's saying that the Kings didn't want either one of those guys because he felt like they were overpaid. Look, that doesn't make any sense. Look who they got on their team already and how they're paid. Zach LaVine, come on now. Come on now. Look who's on the Kings already. Jake Fisher, you're easy to debunk with critical thinking and logic. That's so stupid, man. He's big reason why Raptors fans are toxic about Emmanuel, because they think that he's overpaid because of idiots like Jake Fisher. So we got to understand this, Raptors fans. Be smarter and don't listen to a guy who's not not for us in any kind of way. He's trying to cause trouble, and y'all are like sheep listening to him in dumb ways. All right, y'all. Straight goods on Canadian goods. We talk about getting your food. Well, I love Vince's Market, man. Vince's is a market in central Ontario that has 4 locations: Newmarket, Sharon, and Tottenham, and then Uxbridge. And all 4 of those stores are fantastic. They're a local, smaller chain, not Loblaws, and they're very good quality. This is a jug of freshly squeezed orange juice from Vince's. And oh my gosh, this is the best, man. They have all kinds of great stuff in their deli. They have a really good deli, really good prepared foods, all kinds of great stuff. If you want a new supermarket and you're in central Ontario, north of the city, there's a location in Newmarket, there's a location in Tottenham, there's a location in Uxbridge, and there's a location in Sharon. And man, it's just my store now. I was there yesterday, and man, I bought a lot of good stuff. So you're going to see more stuff. Straight goods on Canadian goods. This is a jug of orange juice, freshly squeezed by the people at Vince's Market. So change your shopping from No Frills, Loblaws, or any of those at Costco or Walmart to Vince's. That's where you go right there. That's where you go right there. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Kareem saying Joel is questionable. Yeah, he's questionable. He's probably not going to play today since Yak's already out for sure, and he'll play tomorrow. There's no way Joel's playing both games against us. Think about it, Kareem. There's no way that Embiid is going to be able to play a back-to-back on 2 days like that. I don't think he plays back-to-backs. So Nick has got to decide, does he sit him on Sunday or Monday? And I think it's likely he's going to sit him today and have him for tomorrow, because it's more likely we'll have more of our players back tomorrow than today, is what it looks like right now. That's right. Yeah. Let's see. Is it on Discord? Yeah, I think I wrote that about Discord. I'm not even sure. The Joel stuff. Yeah. Wayne's here. Good to see Wayne. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Game day. Shut down BI and Scotty. Let the roster show up. So you're saying don't play them? Let's not shut them down. Either way, whether on the court or playing, I want one of them to play. We need somebody to carry. I mean, RJ, if RJ wasn't out already, I would say that's okay, Wayne. But we can't go without 4 of our starters and only have Emmanuel. Emmanuel, the only of the 5 premium starters we have, is the only guy out there. No, I'd like to have at least Scotty or Brandon with him, just for competitive sake. Because listen, the Sixers are the most healthy they've been all year right now. Oubre's been out for a long time. Embiid and George were out for big chunks, and they're all available right now. So we're playing the Sixers pretty much full strength, other than the fact that Joel cannot do 2 games in a back-to-back. We're playing the full strength Sixers basically. Like we, in some ways, that's an out for, we lost because we didn't have guys and they had all their guys. But we don't want to do that. We want to try and beat them. So we're going to need at least Scotty or Brandon today. I'm pretty sure. And I think we'll get one of them. I'm really, in my educated opinion, I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Superfan Mo's saying, I voted 905 Elijah G League All-Star. There you go. Put in those G League up next votes for sure. Yeah. W Stream, W Vibe, go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Free Crew strong forever. Just helping me limit the comments. Thank you to my producer, super fan Monique Lawrence, one of the greatest super fan in Raptors history. I'm willing to say that. Let's try and keep climbing. That's right. Let's keep getting those W's. That's right. Let's keep getting those W's. Guys, we have a big birthday today. I want to say happy birthday to the Raptors legend, champion, 2-time NBA champion, or 3-time champion. He was 2-time champion, Chris Boucher. Guys, it's Chris's birthday today. He's 33 years old today. Former Raptor. Chris Boucher played for us for 7 years. We love Chris so much. He's just such an important part of our history, and just a great story in general. Slim Duck, I hope you have a fantastic birthday, and I hope your kids do great. And, just good things happening for Chris amidst the weirdness around Boston and being on the Celtics team right now. So happy birthday, Chris Boucher. 33 years old today, guys. 33. Man, I remember when Chris was 26 and he was just running around on the Raptors. That seems like that's a long time ago, man. Really crazy. Yeah, Wayne's saying, okay, sit one. I can stomach a loss for long-term success. Well, I want to get a split with the Sixers in this series. If not a sweep, I would love that. In some ways, Wayne, the most important thing right now is the standings. They're a half game behind us. We lose to the Sixers today, they jump ahead of us in the standings. We become the 4th team in the Atlantic, and we become the 5th team in the Eastern Conference. So it's that jammed up. Like we got like 4 out of the 5 Atlantic Division teams in the top 5 in the Eastern Conference. It's just like that with Detroit, New York, Boston, ourselves, and Philadelphia. So we got to get there. Yeah, we got to get there. Yeah, happy birthday to Chris for sure. Happy birthday to Chris. All right, let's get the classic card. Let's get that classic card. Keep moving along. We're at about an hour and a half. That's good. We'll get out a little early, and I can get moving towards getting on the road and getting downtown. Okay, this is a little bit of a tough one. We've had a couple of classic cards that are old school, that are actually classic. So let's see who knows their classic card. There you go. There's James Worthy. We see Big Game James in the back there. But do you know who that guy is right there in the Bucks jersey? Let's see who knows their classic NBA players. This one's not super hard, honestly. But it is classic. And you do need to know old NBA to know who this player is. So we'll have to see who knows who this guy is. In some ways, his head is very distinctive. And kind of like you see his head, you're like, oh, yeah, I know who that is. So who knows who this player is in the classic card today? Milwaukee Bucks, number 3, with number 42, James Worthy of the Lakers behind him. Come on now. We need a guess here. Let's see if anybody can figure it out. There you go. Slug Deezy knows. Of course, Slug Deezy knows. He's the king of the classic card. That's, of course, the great sharpshooter Dale Ellis. who he played for the Seattle Supersonics for a long time, played for Milwaukee Bucks, played for a few teams. And the other thing about Dale was he was a competitor in the three-point shootout pretty regularly, and he was getting beat by Larry Bird. Larry Bird would beat Dale Ellis in the three-point competition. So Slug DZ is the classic card winner of the day. And I guess I'll give you, I don't think this one is super hard, but I have been given the trend of 200 cards for classic. So I'll give you 200 points on this, Slug DZ. Yeah, and you are quite far from Fiercey in the trivia standing still. She's still got like double everybody. But you're on your way, man. You're on your way. You could probably pass Amit very soon if you keep going. So yeah, 200 points for Slug DZ on the classic card today. That's right. Not Isaac. Isaac, no, it's not Alvin Robertson. That is not Alvin Robertson. That is Dale Ellis. Look at his face. He looks kind of scared. Whoa, what's going on? James is like, yeah. He didn't say nothing. James is quiet. He's a silent assassin. He don't say nothing. All right, let me do the rundown and get out of here real quick. This is the last day of our fantasy week, so make sure you get your lineups straight. HC is going to lose. He's down by 300. He's not going to win. I've got it in hand against Logical Raptors Fanatic. Let's see if there's any close games where we may need to be watching. Kaz and James are pretty close. Kaz has an outside shot. That may be the closest game right there. It's still like it's almost a 100-point lead, but if anybody's going to pass anybody on the last day, I think it would be that one. All right, the referees in the lineup news. The Raptors are listing RJ and Jakob and Chucky out, and Brandon and Scotty are questionable. I've speculated a lineup with Emmanuel Quickley as the only starter, with Jacoby Walter, Oshai Abaji, Colin Murray-Boyles, and Sandro Mamukelashvili as a possible starting lineup. The Sixers have one listed injury, and that is Joel Embiid for a knee injury management, and he is questionable for today. And it's really because of the back-to-back. We know that. Their starters on the other side, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Paul George, Dominic Barlow, and probably Andre Drummond today. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably him. In Birmingham, the Raptors 905 will play the Squadron today in the first game of a set, and the referees for that game are Josh Reed, Billy McClatchy, and Eric Lewis, which is crazy. Eric Lewis is back. In the Raptors game in Scotiabank Arena against the Sixers, the crew chief is Mitchell Irvin. He favors the Raptors. Rodney Mott is the referee. He's even. And Natalie Sago is the umpire. She favors the Sixers. So that's your ref report. The last second there. All right, I guess that's it. I guess I'm finished up, guys. I appreciate everybody watching today. I hope everybody has a fantastic Sunday. I'm going to try and bring the good vibes down there and get the W and help the team win. That's right. It's a good week. Have a good week. Yeah. Have a good week, HC. And, well, you got to come back from getting your first loss. You got an amazing record still. And you're the top seed in the league for sure. So, all right, y'all, have a great Sunday. Let's go Raptors. I say this, the Sixers in some ways have been a lazy team over the years, and they don't work as hard as they could. And in some ways, there's ways to beat them if we outwork them. Now, depending on who's playing for them, they may have a size advantage against us, and we do need to be wary of trying to hold them out and from inside easy baskets. Like any game, the Raptors play with a good energy. They get after it. They do things correctly. They don't turn the ball over. They make their shots. They have a chance to win. So I really want to see us beat the Sixers. If this rash of injuries to our starters had not happened in the last week, I was penciling us in to sweep them these two games. But because these guys are out, it's a little bit more up in the air, and especially since the Sixers are very healthy right now too. So either way, it'll be fun to see a homecoming for the GOAT. Kyle Lowry should get his applause and ovation because these may be the last two games that he plays in Toronto ever in the NBA, because it's very likely he's going to retire at the end of the year. And the games that I'm going to and Monique's going to tomorrow may be the last time Kyle Lowry ever appears at Toronto as a player active in the NBA. Yeah, we know he's going to retire and get his jersey put up there, and he'll come back and be in the arena. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Nick maybe for nostalgia plays Lowry more in the next 2 days partly to give back to the Raptors fans. We'll have to see if Nick's like that or not. Because we want to see Lowry play. And don't bury him on the bench, Nick. Let's let us say goodbye to him right in his playing career, because it's very likely he's gone. I want to say this real quick. It's interesting how Giannis got the signed jersey from LeBron recently. It's almost like he knows something, right? Yeah. Anyway, y'all have a great day. Peace and love and understanding. And love will beat dark. Light will beat dark in the end. And in some ways, we got to be warriors of light and warriors of love, because that is what will win this in the end. This is a great quote by Martin Luther King. It's like dark doesn't drive out dark. Light drives out darkness. So always remember that, guys, in your everyday activities. I thank you, Isaac, for the starting five of Lex. Actually, it's me and the Raptor, it seems like. Yeah. Signed jersey. What? Signed jersey? What are you talking about? Signed jersey. That's just really random right at the end there. A signed jersey? What do you mean? Oh, this is what happened. LeBron is, Giannis asked for LeBron's jersey and signed it. They did a jersey swap in the last game they just played. Giannis said, I don't know if I'm going to get to play LeBron ever again. And he got LeBron to sign his jersey and give him his jersey. That's pretty high level jersey swap. Getting LeBron jersey from Giannis. That's what it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Sorry. Anyways, I'm sorry I didn't elaborate on that. It was a jersey swap. He got his signed jersey and he said, I don't know if I'll play him anymore. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Let's go Raptors. Let's beat the Sixers and Nick Nurse and Joel Embiid, big dummy. Let's go Raptors. Let's go to the game. I am.